You are looking at 1.89 cents worth of fermented milk, 1 cup, 1 serving. Gone in 3 minutes with a spoon. If you eat yogurt daily, and millions of Americans do, that's roughly $55 a month, $660 a year. And for a product whose core ingredients cost approximately 25 cents to make at home, that's not an exaggeration. Homemade yogurt can cost around 25 cents per serving, while store-bought ranges from 50 cents to over $2 per cup. And here's the part the industry doesn't want you to calculate. That same 1 serving of store-bought yogurt contains the living culture you need to make an entirely new batch. Then another, indefinitely. 1 spoonful of live yogurt, and combined with a gallon of milk and basic kitchen equipment, produces about 9 cups of yogurt every single week. For as long as you choose to make it, the global yogurt market was valued at over $144 billion in 2025. And a significant portion of that revenue depends on you not doing the math. Here's a short history lesson that explains your last 52 yogurt purchases. Yogurt is one of the oldest foods on Earth. For thousands of years, then, it was made the same way in every culture that had access to milk. You took a small spoonful of yesterday's batch and stirred it into today's warm milk. The bacteria multiplied, the milk thickened. You had fresh yogurt by morning, no store, and no packaging, no supply chain. Nobel Prize-winning scientist Elie Metchnikoff observed in 1907 that Bulgarian peasants lived longer lives and attributed this to their daily consumption of yogurt, which they made themselves at home from their own animals. That tradition was universal and completely self-sustaining. Then something changed. Yogurt rapidly became so entwined with ideas of medicine and longevity that when it was first commercially produced in the United States, it was marketed as a health food and sold in pharmacies. It wasn't until after the 1970s that yogurt began to be widely consumed as a food in its own right. The industry took a 10,000-year-old self-replicating food and repackaged it as a single-use consumer product. They put it in individual cups with foil lids. They added fruit, added sugar, added synthetic flavors. They put it behind cold glass in the dairy aisle with its own shelf, its own brand identities, and its own marketing campaigns. And they quietly removed the one piece of knowledge that makes yogurt infinitely renewable. The starter culture inside every cup you already buy is alive. It is biologically capable of making the next batch. And the one after that, most factory-made yogurts also contain stabilizers and thickeners such as gelatin, pectin, or cornstarch to give yogurt a thick, creamy consistency and to prevent separation. Additives that extend shelf life and improve appearance, not nutrition. You're paying a premium for packaging, branding, and thickeners, not for the biology itself. That's not chemistry. That's marketing. The actual science of making yogurt requires exactly 2 things: milk and heat. The living bacteria do the rest for free, and they've been doing it since before recorded history. Here is everything you need, like exactly where to find it and precisely why each item works. Ingredient 1, whole milk. A 1-gallon jug of whole milk at Walmart runs around $3.50 to $4.50, depending on your region and the brand. Any standard pasteurized whole milk works. Avoid ultra-pasteurized or UHT milk for your first few batches. The high heat processing alters the milk proteins in a way that can make the yogurt thinner and harder to set. The label will say ultra-pasteurized if that's what it is. Then, regular pasteurized whole milk is what you want. 1 gallon of whole milk produces approximately 72 ounces, around 9 cups of finished yogurt. That's 9 servings from 1 gallon of milk. Ingredient 2, live culture starter. This is 1 small cup of plain, unflavored store-bought yogurt, any brand that lists live and active cultures on the label. Check the side or back panel. You'll see it. You need this exactly once. After your first batch, you never buy a starter again. Here's the science that makes this work, and it's the part that's genuinely remarkable. The bacteria doing the work in yogurt are Lactobacillus delbrueckii sub sp, Bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus, a thermophilic pair that thrive in warm conditions and sour milk by converting lactose into lactic acid. As those bacteria metabolize the milk sugar lactose, they produce lactic acid as a byproduct. That acid lowers the pH of the milk. As the pH drops, the milk proteins, primarily casein, begin to denature and bond together. The liquid thickens, the structure sets. And what you have is yogurt scalding the milk, heating it to around 82 degrees Celsius, or 180 Fahrenheit. Before you cool and culture, it restructures the milk proteins so they trap water in a firm gel. Skipping this step is the most common reason beginners get watery yogurt. This is pure biochemistry. No additives needed, no thickeners, no pectin. no modified cornstarch. The protein does the structural work on its own when the temperature and the biology are correct. Ingredient 3, a thermometer. An instant read kitchen thermometer from Walmart or Amazon runs about $8 to $12. This is your only real equipment investment, and it replaces guesswork entirely. Temperature is the single variable that determines success or failure in this process. You use this thermometer once per batch for about 60 seconds total. Total first batch cost, under $6 in ingredients. Under $20 if buying the thermometer. Every batch after that, approximately $4 for 1 gallon of milk. Here is the exact process, step by step. Read it through once before you start. Step 1. Heat the milk. Pour your gallon of whole milk into a large, heavy-bottomed pot. Place it on the stove over medium heat. Stir gently and continuously as it heats. You're bringing it to approximately 180 Fahrenheit, or 82 degrees Celsius. This is just below a simmer. You'll see small bubbles beginning to form at the edges before a full rolling boil. Don't let it boil hard. Check the temperature with your thermometer. Hold it at 180 Fahrenheit for 2 to 5 minutes while you keep stirring. This is the scalding step that restructures the proteins for a thick, firm set. Step 2. Cool the milk, roam the pot from the heat. Let the milk cool down to between 110 Fahrenheit and 115 Fahrenheit, which is 43 degrees Celsius to 46 degrees Celsius. Staying within this temperature range encourages the bacteria, primarily Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus, to thrive and multiply. These bacteria convert milk sugars into lactic acid, which curdles the milk and gives yogurt its characteristic texture and tang. Here's the insider rule that separates successful batches from failed ones: temperature precision on both ends. Too hot, above 120 Fahrenheit, and you kill the bacteria before they can work. Too cold, below 100 Fahrenheit, and the bacteria go dormant and the milk just sits there. The window between 100 Fahrenheit and 115 Fahrenheit is where yogurt happens. Your thermometer cost $8. The difference between success and a pot of warm milk costs $8. Step 3. Add the starter. Take 2 to 3 tablespoons of your plain store-bought yogurt. Scoop it into a small bowl. Add about half a cup of the warm milk and whisk it smooth. This tempers the cold starter so it doesn't shock the bacteria when it hits the warm milk. Then pour this mixture back into your pot and whisk it in gently. Step 4. Incubate. Transfer your inoculated milk into clean glass jars with lids. Mason jars from Walmart. A set of 4 16-oz jars runs around $10. Work perfectly and last for years. Now you need to keep those jars at a consistent temperature between 100 Fahrenheit and 110 Fahrenheit for 6 to 12 hours. There are several ways to do this without any special equipment. The oven method: turn your oven on for 2 minutes, then turn it off completely. The residual warmth from the oven light alone is often enough. Place your jars inside. Leave them undisturbed. The towel method: wrap your jars tightly in 2 or 3 thick kitchen towels and place them inside a cooler with the lid shut. The insulation maintains the temperature for hours. A short fermentation time results in a milder tasting yogurt, while yogurt that has been left to incubate for up to 8 to 12 hours will taste more tart and full of flavor. After 6 to 8 hours, check one jar. If it is set to a solid, custard-like consistency that doesn't slosh when you tilt the jar, you're done. If it's still liquid in the center, give it 2 more hours. Step 5. Refrigerate. Move your jars to the refrigerator immediately after they've set. Yogurt is a perishable food and should be refrigerated within 2 hours after the incubation cycle is done. The cold temperature stops the fermentation and firms up the texture further over the next few hours. Step 6. The infinite loop. Before you use the last jar, reserve 2 to 3 tablespoons in a clean container, labeled as your starter for the next batch. That's it. That spoonful of living bacteria is your seed culture. Then it goes into next week's gallon of warm milk and starts the entire cycle again. Some households reuse their yogurt starter culture from batch to batch indefinitely, saving money and reducing waste with every cycle. Then, homemade yogurt lasts 1 to 2 weeks in the refrigerator when stored properly. Plan your batches accordingly. Once a week works perfectly for most households. You might be wondering, is homemade yogurt as safe as store-bought? Let's answer that directly. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, yogurt is generally safe to eat for 1 to 2 weeks when consistently stored at or below 40 Fahrenheit. The acidity of yogurt, produced by the fermentation process itself, creates an environment that tends to prevent the development of harmful pathogens. The lactic acid that the bacteria produce is itself a natural preservation mechanism. It's the same reason that fermented foods have been safely consumed by humans for thousands of years without refrigeration. The process this video describes uses pasteurized milk. The scalding step at 180 Fahrenheit further reduces any remaining microbial load before the starter culture is introduced. What grows in your yogurt is then specifically what you put there, the known, well-documented, widely studied bacteria on the label of the starter yogurt you used. Now let's flip the question. What's in commercial yogurt that you might not expect? Common additives and thickeners in commercial yogurt include modified cornstarch, maltodextrin, pectin, locust bean gum, gar gum, carob bean gum, xanthan gum, and gelatin, ingredients that improve texture and stability, but mean you are consuming a formulated product, not simply fermented milk. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration does not regulate the term Greek style, which means it doesn't guarantee a product was made through the traditional straining method. Products carrying this label are more likely to contain thickeners and emulsifiers rather than achieving their texture through actual straining. Homemade yogurt made from pasteurized milk and a clean live culture starter is, by ingredient count, one of the simplest foods you can produce. 2 ingredients, 1 controlled process. No additives, no stabilizers, no preservatives. Just fermented milk biology hasn't changed in 10,000 years. What changed is the packaging around it. Let's run the full numbers one more time so they're absolutely clear. The global yogurt market generates $144 billion in annual revenue. The U.S. market alone is valued at over $10 billion. A daily serving of store-bought yogurt at an average of $1, $50 to $2 per cup, costs roughly $550 to $730 per year for one person. Homemade yogurt made from 1 gallon of whole milk per week, approximately $4 per gallon, producing 9 cups. That's about 44 cents per cup. For the whole year, roughly $208 for a family eating yogurt daily, all from a quart a gallon and a spoonful of culture you already have in the fridge. The difference between those two numbers every single year is the revenue model of a $144 billion industry that relies on you not knowing that the living culture inside every cup you buy can make the next one for free. A 4-gallon of milk that permanently solves the problem a consumer is paying $660 a year to manage is not a business model. It's a business ending. And the starter culture is already sitting in your refrigerator right now. If this saved you money, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps other people who are overpaying find this information. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.